We ripped into some great material today, and it's all focused on how one of our most valued traits, persistence or grit, can actually become our greatest liability. So if we're really exploring the art of what you might call cognitive pliability.
Right. And the central danger here, the thing we're really unpacking, is this concept called escalation of commitment.
Okay.
It's that, that feeling when we stubbornly refuse to pull the plug on a failing project or plan.
You just keep sinking more time, more resources into it.
Exactly. All because we just can't stomach admitting we might have been wrong in the first place.
So our mission is to understand where that vital trait, perseverance, tips over into foolish stubbornness.
That's the one. And then how we can hardwire our brains to adapt instead of just pathologically doubling down.
Okay, so let's break this down. This escalation of commitment. It's not really a logical thing, is it?
Not at all. Oh, what's so fascinating is that it's rarely a purely economic failure. It's almost entirely psychological.
It's about ego.
It's about ego shielding and self-justification. The more we invest, time, money, reputation, the more psychologically painful it is to just walk away.
Which creates this feedback loop.
A perfect feedback loop.
And the research you found on professional sports just illustrates this perfectly. The NBA example.
Yeah, the NBA general managers. They give significantly more playing time and even larger follow-up contracts to players they picked really highly in the draft.
The so-called draft busts.
Right, the underperformers. And they do it purely because of the high initial investment they made. It's sunk costs, completely overriding the actual performance data.
That's the heart of what the material calls the grit paradox, then. We celebrate this idea of perseverance.
But too much of it can literally blind you to reality. You're not being persistent at that point. You're ignoring the clear evidence.
And there's the truly tragic example of this, that 1949 Man Gulch fire.
Oh, that story is it's devastating. You have these elite smoke jumpers fleeing for their lives from a wildfire.
And they perished because they couldn't bring themselves to drop their heavy tools. Their axes, their saws.
Because those tools were central to their identity, to who they were. Being a firefighter meant having those tools.
Dropping them felt like admitting total failure.
A lethal form of what they call identity tethering. They couldn't adapt because they were clinging to who they thought they were and what that meant.
So how do we fight that kind of rigidity in ourselves?
Well, we have to fundamentally shift our mental modes. The sources identify 3 really common traps that get in the way of real learning.
Okay, what are they?
First up is preacher mode.
That's when we're just defending our sacred beliefs, almost like giving a sermon.
Exactly. Then there's prosecutor mode, where you're just obsessed with proving someone else wrong to win the argument.
Right. And the third is politician mode.
Yeah, just campaigning for approval, changing your views to suit whoever you're talking to. None of those prioritize truth.
So what's the solution?
The solution is to adopt what they call the scientist mindset.
Okay, scientist mindset.
Yeah.
So you view your strategy not as a sacred belief, but as a theory to be tested.
Precisely. Your products, your career moves, they become experiments. Your goal is intellectual humility, just seeking truth over being right.
And this actually works. It has tangible value.
It does. There was research on Italian startup founders, and it showed the ones trained to think like scientists testing assumptions, pivoting on data, they earned significantly more revenue.
Because they weren't afraid to throw out a bad idea.
They weren't tethered to it.
So if we connect this to, say, your career path,
yeah,
thinking about your life as an open system can really help fight that anxiety of, picking the wrong path, that identity foreclosure.
Exactly. And open systems have 2 principles that are they're so freeing. The first is equifinality.
Meaning many different paths can lead to the same final goal.
Changing your major, taking a different job, you can still end up where you want to be.
And the second
is multifinality.
That's the idea that the same starting point can lead to tons of different equally valid outcomes. So that one choice you make today doesn't lock you in forever.
It fundamentally counters that anxiety.
So we've come full circle, back to this core idea of seeking truth and adapting, which brings us to a really beautiful final thought on fulfillment.
Yeah, from the philosopher John Stuart Mill. He had this paradox about happiness.
He argued that you can't achieve happiness by making it your primary goal.
Right. He said it's merely a byproduct of fixing your mind on something else.
Like a larger cause or art or...
Or the improvement of mankind. Fulfillment, he thought, emerges from focusing on learning and growth, adopting that scientist mode to seek truth and contribute.
So instead of searching directly for happiness,
you seek truth, you seek to contribute, and then satisfaction. It just shows up. It becomes the inevitable byproduct. It's a powerful framework for adaptation and for life.